Hello footies, welcome along to your tri-weekly dose of FIFA Ultimate Team podcasting goodness. We are FUT In Review, powered by footcoaching.com. My name is Dan Wimbush and stay tuned with us over the next 45 minutes or so as we wrap up all of the latest content, including a couple of guaranteed Team of the Season SBCs, the last Team of the Week of certainly this season at least, some changes to the Rivals rewards, and we'll be digging into some other topics sort of away from the routine grind, including looking at the general FIFA cycle, whether it's too long, whether it's too short, what kind of needs changing. So plenty for us to get into. Before I introduce my two co-hosts for today's show, just a very big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our Patreon over at patreon.com/FUTInReview. In particular to Amar, Reese, Danielle and Artyom, who are Skybox holders. That is the top tier of support. They get a free coaching session every month, plus a load of goodies. And if you want to join them in that crew, you're more than welcome. But subscriptions start from as low as $1, £1, £1, €1 per week. And of course, that gets you access to our fantastic Discord and lots of other goodies. So patreon.com/FUTInReview. Right. My two co-hosts there. First of all, I'm delighted to be rejoined for the first time in a long time by the professional player for Team Foot Coaching. It is Ryan Hampton. Ryan, good evening to you, my friend. Long time no speak.
Good evening, Wimby. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've spoken and even been on the pod together as well. I think we said beforehand, it's been the start of the season when we were last on together. So certainly been a while, but I'm glad to be back and we can chat some FIFA again.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get into your kind of place in the cycle and your general FIFA progress over the course of the show, I am sure. But I'm also joined by the king of the German foot team, the man who is as reliable as a German penalty taker. It is Captain Save Man, aka Amar. Amar, welcome back.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on again.
Delighted to have you back with me, my friend. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been all right. Been keeping well. I have to say, I've not been playing that much recently. Got a little bit bored with the game in some senses.
You kind of had that hype being your team's German based, of course, with the team season Bundesliga. Now it's kind of a bit after the Lord Mayor's show, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so because I don't really want to grind for any of these rewards. But I think I don't know if you've noticed the same thing, but I feel like everybody scores the same goal over and over again.
Is it that one where people go to the byline, cut back across the box and tap in by any chance?
No, it's like the direct passing forces the defenders deep, it goes to the striker, you double tap. I mean, I scored the same goal, but everyone keeps scoring that goal. Yeah, I guess that's why I'm being a little bit bored.
There are at least two types of goal then in this FIFA cycle. But look, we'll get into some of our nitpicks with the game over the course of this show, I am sure. But let's very quickly round up the latest content. I'm not going to spend too long on it, but gentlemen, it's been emotional. But can we have a moment of silence for the end of Team of the Week? Thank you. Yes, Team of the Week is now over. Team of the Week 36 was released tonight as we record this on Wednesday evening. And gents, actually, as far as Team of the Week goes, they've actually gone out with a pretty decent selection of players, Ryan.
Yeah, it's just too bad they didn't bring out this team 30 weeks ago. I think there's some good players in there, but with where the game is right now, you can tell by the prices of the best players in here that it's kind of just. It's nice to see it go. I think it's nice to see it finished.
Yeah, Amar, it's had its time, but you've got a Robertson 91 left back who can do a job, especially linking in with the man who is one half of the showdown tonight. You've got a Heung-min Son 92 red card. If you maybe can't quite afford the TOTS, this one is almost as good as well.
Yeah, you can pick up some nice bargains, but I sort of agree with Ryan. I don't think I'd use a Team of the Week card now. It would just look weird in my team.
Yeah, the aesthetic not matching with those nice shiny blue cards. But look, a few other decent cards. I mean, there's Angel Di Maria, 90 rated card, Bastoni, 88 rated centre-back, but again, with 76 pace, he's going to get nowhere near your team. And then, unfortunately, just a load of scrubs who have done well in real life, obviously, to get into this particular Team of the Week. But again, nobody that you'd be racing to pick up at all. And I said, I think Robertson at 150k for him and Son are the most expensive. So That is the end of Team of the Week, and that is going to have an effect on the Rivals rewards as EA release a little pop-up if you log into the game over the next sort of 24 hours or so. They've confirmed that until the end of this current season, the red rewards that you get for being an elite will still be players from Team of the Weeks 33 through 36, so the last 4 weeks. And then once the season ends, which is in 2 weeks' time, the rewards will then switch to being Team of the Week or Team of the Seasons that have come out since the start of Season 7. Now, I'm a little bit confused by that, given that there will be no Team of the Weeks released from the start of Season 7. And also, Team of the Seasons, I think, will be down to maybe just Ultimate Team of the Season and Ligan. So I don't know if I'm misreading something, chaps, but I just think it already should just be Team of the Season picks, surely.
Yeah, the way I read it was that it would basically include all Team of the Weeks and Team of the Seasons above 83 from Season 7 onwards. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but that was the way I
So you
read it
think
the first time I looked
from
at it.
Season 7 it will be 83 plus rather
I
than
think so.
83
I
plus
believe
from
so.
Season 7?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that would
think
make a
that
lot
would
more
make
sense.
more sense, but you never know with you, do you?
No, that would make a lot of sense. And again, my tired, frazzled brain of trying to raise 2 children, obviously misreading that. But Amar, what do you take? Is Elite worth grinding for with this rewards?
Maybe, but I guess if Team of the Week's still going to be in there, then maybe not. I feel like most people would get, let's say, I think it's a pick of 3, I can't remember. Probably going to
Yeah,
get 2 Team of the Weeks out of 3, 9 times out of 10.
yeah. I mean,
Hopefully they have some sort of minimum on it so that you're at least getting one Team of the Season in, though.
Hopefully, yeah, that would be fairer.
you'd absolutely love to hope so. But again, as you just said, this is EA, so I'm not going to hold my breath for that one. But I mentioned Andrew Robertson getting in this final Team of the Week, and I mentioned the fact we did have a showdown ahead of the Champions League final. And again, credit to EA where it's due. They've released 2 very usable players, Amar, in Liverpool's Fabinho and Rodrigo from Real Madrid. The obvious question here is if you could only do one, which of the 2 would you be doing?
I guess it's sort of team dependent. Um, if you look at Team of the Season so far, we haven't had, that I can think of unless I've missed one, a really good like pure DM. I think Fabinho with medium high is a really nice pure DM. Price might put you off, but I think I would probably lean towards Fabinho.
Ryan, where would you go?
So I think it's a really tough question. I think both of these cars are really good. I don't think anyone can really call the Champions League final, so with the upgrades, they could go either way. If I really had to go with one, I think I would go with Rodrigo just for the skills more than anything. That's
Yeah,
the only thing that would decide it for me. I think that Fabinho card looks so well rounded for just a pure DM as well. With the high defensive work rate, he's going to be phenomenal just as a DM, but he can do so much more as well. So you can't go wrong doing either of these cards.
Yeah, and the good thing about both these cards is they're already both kind of up with the power curve, maybe a tiny notch below the very best, but certainly compared to some of the scrubs you see in Team of the Season towards the bottom end, aka all the ones you get in your guaranteed packs. Both of these are great cards. Now there is a price difference. Fabinho is going to cost you around 100,000 coins more, so the Prem tax well in effect. But I think I'm on the Fabinho train out of the 2 of these, and this one poses me a little bit of a dilemma as a Prime Moments Vieira owner, because I look at this Fabinho card, and if it gets a +2, and therefore all of his face stats will be above 90 other than shooting, and even the shooting's only really dragged down by 75 volleys. Everything else would be kind of at least mid-80s and above. Again, it's 2 inches shorter than Vieira, but Ryan, does size matter?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm sure if you ask my girlfriend, she'll say something else. But I think, there is very little in it if you already have the Vieira. If you don't already have it and you're looking for somebody like that, the Fabinho is slightly better. If you like on face value, even looking slightly deeper, it's better. It's better. He seems more nimble as well. In terms of size, at that height, no. I think it's always good to have a tall CDM, or at least, a bruiser, someone who's going to have those long legs and not not take any of the nonsense that maybe some of the players will give you in the animations. I think at those heights you could get away with it. You can get away with it.
Amar, I'm looking at this Rodrigo card and comparing him to a card that is currently about 3.7 million coins more expensive in Vinicius Jr. And if you just compare them, face to face, at the moment with no upgrade, Rodrigo is 13 face stats below, and total in-game stats, there is a 37-point difference between the two. But if Real Madrid do win this, then he's going to overtake Vinicius. Could you make the argument this card might be even better when all is said and done?
I don't think so. I think you could make the argument based on face stats, but I just don't think he will be. Yeah, Vinicius is a little bit like maybe not so much this year Neymar, but last year Neymar, where you could get these cards that looked amazing, but they just didn't move as well as Neymar. And I think probably Vinicius moves the best of any card this year that I've had a go with. And playing a fair bit of draft recently because of the objective, I had to go with a fair few, but I think he just moves the smoothest out of anyone in the game this year.
Yeah, the big advantage that Vinicius has is over the physicals, and even if Rodrigo were to get that +2, he's still going to be well down in aggression, well down in strength. Stamina's a bit of a wash, and jumping will be pretty close. But both 5'9". Does Vinicius have a unique body type?
No, I think they're both lean, both
Okay.
of them.
Okay. Well, again, I mean, it's a frightening proposition if you're coming up against both of them, yet alone if someone has managed to pack Karim Benzema in the middle. That is a team I'd be very seriously thinking about, something falling onto my Xbox and hitting the reset button.
I think the biggest difference between them is that Rodrigo has a little bit more defending and things, and like you said, the physical is there for Vinicius, and you'll probably notice that part more than anything when because of like how high all the cards are right now. Everybody's stacked with physical, so that's probably the biggest difference you'll see with Vinicius. He'll be able to bundle his way through tackles that Rodrigo might not be able to.
Fair enough. Well, if you're looking for that Karim Benzema or Vinicius Junior card, one of your final guaranteed chances to at least be in with a shot of packing him is the La Liga Team of the Season upgrade that was released tonight. And Amar, this one is steep. 121,000 coins for this. Am I alone in really considering if this is actually worth it, given, again, some of the scrubs we've got towards the bottom end?
I mean, how does it compare to the previous ones that we've had in terms of price? Do you know?
I will go and dig that out as you discuss that.
Yeah, I guess it is quite high because some of the cards are so expensive. Like you say, Vinicius is over 3 million, and
Such a massive range of players available in here. I think that's why it's so high, because you're either going to get a dud or you're going to hit the jackpot. I think.
the first is more likely, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think there's only like 3 or 4 players in that entire squad that would mean breaking even roughly, and the rest are like massively probably discard value for a team of the season, and then the rest are like way, 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 way up there at the top tier elite echelons. So yeah, like I said, you're either gonna hit the jackpot or nothing at all.
I think
Yeah.
if you saw 50 people do it, I reckon you'd see at least 10 Munains.
I think you would see 8 people that would actually hit something more than the value of it. Don't ask me where I picked that number from.
I think if it was me, I'd absolutely hit that. So for comparison, the Bundesliga one cost 50k, so that was half of it. And I'm just trying to find the Premier League one quickly now to see where that price. But again, I just think for the reasons that Ryan said, there are just so many people are going to be walking into Munain. I mean, just in our Discord alone, we've seen an Acuna, we've seen a Kunde, we've seen the Barcelona defender whose name's escaped me. So this one's actually more expensive than the Premier League one because the Premier League one was 85k.
Wow.
So yeah, they've certainly upped up the ante with this one. I'm. I think it's tough because there are at least two, you could argue, game-changing players to be packed from that. But yeah, the flip side is the chance of you ending up with a 30k player are just so huge. So I guess it comes down to that classic argument of how lucky do you feel?
Yeah, I think there's 5 players in total that are considerably more than the value, and 5 from an entire squad's not a lot, and the odds are probably already very low. But if you hit one of those, then result.
Absolutely. Well, yesterday should have seen some more content, but our good friends at Electronic Arts once again ran into difficulties publishing the SBCs for the evening. Now, I think this is at least the third time this has happened. They eventually resolved the issue at around about 10 o'clock. So there was a La Liga 84 plus player pick, which will cost you 25k. We did have a Iago Aspas card as well, which we'll talk about briefly as well. There was a UEFA Europa Conference League road to the final, kind of like marquee matchups. We had one for the Europa League last week, if you did that one. A couple of challenges as well, and the Liga NOS upgrade, which is an 84 rated team. Gents, is there anybody other than Nunes that you actually would possibly even want to pack from that?
I packed Tavio, who looks all right, and the goalkeeper. But I think I'm going to Taremi, I guess. He's got terrible links, but he looks good.
Yeah. We're just coming into that part of the season where just even Nunes, right? I look at him and he's getting some good reviews, but you just know there's going to be an SBC released in, say, 2-3 weeks' time when this promo's over that's immediately going to kick him out of your squad.
Yeah, it's so hard to link him that by the time you find a way to link him and make it worthwhile, something else has come out which was probably better. He does look like an awesome card though. The physicals on him and everything else, like you can't fault him. He's a fantastic card, but you're probably having to wedge him in somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of need to icon block him in. An easier guy to link is Iago Aspas, who was released yesterday. 155 to 165,000 coins as we sit. Just like, every year, Amar, we get an Iago Aspas juiced up card. And every year, I swear I say the same thing. It's a really decent looking card. But once again, it's just a card that lacks anything truly special to make you want to work him in.
I had last year, I think he had a player of the month or something like that. And it was in my team for ages and ages last year. I really, really enjoyed it. But then as you get to this kind of thing, his weak foot was a real problem. He had 3-star last year. I don't know if they juiced it up for this.
Yeah, it's 4-star, 4-star
Juiced
now.
him up to 4-4.
So yeah, again, and he's someone who always moves really nice. But it is that thing. Are you going to pump your fodder into it now? And same as Nunes, is there going to be something better out very soon? Well, yeah, we know there is.
I think this is the kind of card that comes in handy if you stumble into, by some miracle, a Vinicius Junior or one of these big La Liga TOTS, and you just need a striker to kind of work them in while you figure out your next move. I do like the 155k price point. And look, there is not a lot to hate in terms of this guy just being a pure striker. 85 heading accuracy with 88 jumping. Like I say, he's been boosted to that 4-star weak foot. All of the face stats for shooting are above 91. And the lowest of that is penalties on 91 as well. With an engine, you can get him up to 99 agility, which is already 97 to start with, and goes up to 97 balance as well. Pace-wise, an engine also gets him up to 95 acceleration, 99 sprint speed. So, Ryan, again, a really nice, well-rounded set of stats. And he's got the outside the foot shot trait and the finesse shot trait as well. So maybe I'm doing him a bit of a disservice.
Yeah, I actually think he's quite a good card. And even if you wanted to play him as a cam, I think he would do a pretty good job with an engine on him. He's got high enough stats. Like you kind of mentioned there, there's so many of these kind of cards out right now that you're only going to bother with these sort of things if you like the player or the team or need the links. There's so many cards at a similar value that have all got the same stats.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't massively like is the high work rates. But again, it's not the pain it used to be for strikers, certainly, especially if you're someone that likes to has mastered the triggering of their own runs. And speaking of mastery as well, if you did, hopefully you've all listened to Monday's show with John and Chris as well, and I took their advice. John's key takeaway from that show, if you've not listened, was go away and practice your green time finishing. And gents, of the two, I mean, Ryan, I'm sure you have mastered said green time. Have you got any tips for those of us out there, like myself, that are struggling to get the timing right?
I wish I could say I have, because I've had that from John all year as well. So yeah, bad Ryan for that one. No, unfortunately, I don't have any tips for you right now. I think John always said to me to go watch Julian, the Feyenoord player in the Eredivisie. He has mastered the green time finishing to a T. So he's on YouTube. I think he also streams on Twitch, and he's super good at it. He is so good at it. You just watch the moments that he's using it, and you'll probably learn a lot. Just going into squad battles probably is the best place to do it. I did spend a little bit of time on there at the start of the year doing it, and I picked it up quite quickly, but then I stopped using it in games, so that's completely my fault. But you can see the value of it when you really, especially right now when all teams are quite even and it's the slimmest of margins that will decide games. Something like that can really just win a game for you.
Yeah, Amar, I've been sort of practicing out, in the last couple of days. I've been using this whole icon swaps grind as a good sort of training ground for myself. And I will say, when you do actually nail one and it flies in, it does give you that extra satisfaction. But the comedy I like is when you red time it and somehow fool the keeper anyway and it goes in. That also adds a level of hilarity to the game.
Yeah, I had a little practice today actually when I came home from work and redded a few in front of goal. I can only, for some reason, I can only green it with Royce.
Okay.
The only player on my team I can green it with. And you think with his finesse shot rate and whatever, they'd fly in the top corner, but don't know. I don't think I'm putting enough power or something's not quite right. The keeper seems to save it.
Yeah, the only thing that's helped me is putting the little trainer on, and you can actually tweak the trainer settings to literally have just that shooting bar on. So that has helped me a little bit. But yeah, I think Ryan, a bit like you, it's when you then go into a high pressure game in rivals or weekend league, it's like, oh, I don't really want to be trying this now.
Yeah, exactly. When you it's really tense, everything's tight. It's honestly the last thing you're thinking about if you haven't mastered it and it's not part of your muscle memory.
Yeah.
But that's probably why you should actually go into squad battles and get it into your muscle memory.
Yeah.
Remember how you're doing it. Do it every time. And that way, when you're going into these rival games, you're already prepared.
Yep, agreed. And again, go back and listen to Monday's show for more from John and Chris on that one. But look, let's move away from content. Let's dig into sort of our sort of main talking point of the evening. And one of the things that I wanted to get into, chaps, was just generally looking at the FIFA cycle as it is at the moment. And this is kind of an extension of the conversation I had with Talking Foot John on last Wednesday's show, when we were kind of looking at why maybe Team of the Season doesn't feel as special anymore. And I think as an extension of that, and I was just looking and actually listening to what John and Chris were talking about, and John was sort of saying, well, there's so much to do right now. If you don't want to do it, just walk away and pick and choose your battles. And Ryan, I'm going to start with you. The base question, I suppose this all boils down to, is there too much content, or is actually, it a really good thing that there is so much of it out there?
Being completely impartial, I'm sure you'll be excited to hear that. For me, there's too much content, personally. I got a little bit, I used to do absolutely everything, and that would take me hours to do everything. There's so much stuff to do. And that's good. I think it's a good thing that they are at least spending the time to give people the choice if they need to do things. But I always felt obliged to do everything, and that was where I sort of faltered, because I was spending so much time bothering about these little objectives that actually I wasn't spending enough time doing having fun, actually. That's probably the biggest thing. I wasn't having enough fun. I was just grinding for the sake of grinding. I definitely think there's too much, though, now, because, you're just going into team of the season. I think there's just so many cards all the time, constantly coming out, that the team or the players that you bought the week prior are already out of date, and you then have to do it all over again. And the objectives that you're doing, something might come out, and again, you're spending more time doing that, and it can be really unhealthy to be in that mindset because it's hard to then walk away from it. If you want to take a couple of days off, you're immediately going to feel like you have missed everything. You miss one objective, you're going to feel behind. You're going to want to come back immediately, and that's going to cause you to miss out on other things in your life. Other things that you could be doing, other games that you could be playing, people that you could be seeing. So it's that FOMO that really grabs you and keeps you in there. And no, you're not necessarily always having fun, but because of the amount of stuff there, I think you always find yourself going back for a little bit more.
Where do you stand on it? Is this a deliberate or indeliberate ploy to sort of increase the FOMO factor with the way that this whole cycle of content has been created this year?
I think it definitely is. That's what they've built their whole business model on, is the way that social media is now, and you must do this card, unbelievable cracked player, this and this. And then if you look at that same guy, well, most of the guys, they won't even have this player in their team a week later. But I'm very different to Ryan in that sense, in maybe because Ryan's a lot better than me at the game. But yeah, I'm extremely different. Is I've never had FOMO in this game. I've never looked at a card and thought, oh my God, I have to do this objective. Oh my God, this SBC, whatever. I've always just been happy to run with whatever team I have. And when the content is so intense like this, there's so much. Even someone like me who doesn't grind, doesn't really go through menus and stuff like that, still ends up with loads of great cards. So from a more casual perspective, this is really good. But if you're really into the menus and you're really into grinding, and like Ryan says, oh my God, I've missed this thing, then you can get to a place where it's definitely unhealthy, I think.
I think I sort of sit kind of in between the two of you. And I think the one thing for me that struck home in the past few weeks is that EA just don't give anything time to breathe. And I was looking at the Ansu Fati objective and thinking, if this card had come out even 2 months ago, it is a card that I would have moved my team around for, and I would have really enjoyed using, and I knew that I would have got 6 to 8 weeks out of it. And then if something other left winger had come out, I would have been okay. Well, that's fine because Fati's endgame is similar to how the flashback Varane that was released around Team of the Year. I was really happy to do that SBC because that card I knew was going to sit in my team for months. And I think the disappointing thing for me is that they're moving the goalpost so quickly that, as Ryan said, as soon as you get something, it's almost out of your team a week later because there's something better coming out. I just wish that we would go back to even just having a couple of weeks between promos where they do things like that whole Silver Stars promo they did, which was something nice and different, but it didn't really affect your main team significantly. So Ryan, I just think, again, for me, I just think there needs a little bit of breathing space between all of this great content.
Yeah, I can totally get on board with that. I think the FOMO for me comes from past knowledge of how this game works. And when an objective card comes out, even though you might not need it now, there's usually something that comes out soon after it that you think, actually, I should have done that. And then that you kind of get in that routine of, okay, I'm going to do it because there's going to be something for it. And then it comes out and you build your team around it. And again, you've got them in your team for a week because something better comes out. So it's the same thing every time. But I can totally get on board with what you're saying there. Yeah, I actually think the promotions or the promos run a little bit too long sometimes.
Okay.
When they come out, they're out for a week usually, and then they come out with promo team 2, and then it's another week. I think it would be more interesting if they had it over a shorter time period, but then they had more space in between them to give the cards some value each time. Their immediate value when they come out when they're good is where it should be. By the time the next promo comes out, everyone's forgotten about those cards. Um, and I always just feel that if you're bringing out these special cards, they should feel special. They should be a little bit different. That people will want to use them for a bit longer and actually have a bit of pride in using them, or grind towards having the coins to afford somebody. That used to be the fun for me when a couple of FIFAs ago they didn't necessarily have promos. They had Team of the Year, and that was it. And you would grind towards getting yourself a Team of the Year player, and he'd be in your team all year round. And yeah, to a certain extent, that's still the case. But when there's so many promos out so quickly, you just don't, like you said, you don't have time to breathe, you don't have time to think, you don't have time to really react. You either go all in or do nothing at all.
On that theme of keeping cards special and making them feel worth it, Amar, do you think that perhaps EA have made things like objective cards now perhaps even too easy to obtain? I mean, again, if in the example of Ansu Fati, we've got people in our Discord talking about getting that card unlocked in 30 minutes. A card that in previous FIFAs would have been multi-millions of coins, or you would have had to do a whole massive set of rewards to grind towards. Do you think maybe that part of the reason they don't feel special is because, again, it is almost too accessible?
I think that's a deliberate ploy, because to make it so accessible, you can do that, and then you can do something else, and then you can do something else, and then you can do something else, and you can just keep piling things over and over again. I think if they made it like, I don't think you guys remember a towel from last year, which took about a month to do for me. It was
Yes.
towards the end. I think if you put something out like that, people are going to look at it and go, "Well, that's all my time spent doing that," which is an objective card, and they're not doing SBCs, sinking coins in. That's really what they need you to do, right? Is to sink coins in. Doing an objective card is a way to get you to engage with the game, but I don't think they want you to be doing that for too much time.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. And Ryan, I think the examples that I come back to, and I know Chris frequently brings these up when we do shows together, I think the best ones in recent memory that EA got so right were the Summer Heat, Bruno Fernandes and Furlan Mendy cards that we had released, whereby everybody got given the base version of these cards, and then you had loads of objectives to get upgraded version of them, and they were both super meta cards that would go into your team, but you had to properly earn them. And if you saw someone with a top version, you knew that they'd really had to put a lot of time in.
Yeah, yeah. I think the timing of that release helped, because they were in a period where you could say that it was a bit of a lull for FIFA. Okay, a lot of countries had lockdowns and things, so people actually were still glued into the game and couldn't go anywhere anyway. But that is traditionally when people start logging off at the game, or maybe just play Ultimate Team a little bit less. So for them to put on a longer objective for a worthwhile card was really, really smart. It's just a shame that it takes that amount of time to bring out a card that lasts a long time. That Mendy would be in your team till the end of the game at that point. Whereas if you go and do an objective now, they're not in your team for even a month. They don't have that longevity that maybe the objectives actually value. Because if you're doing that fatty, you're doing it 30 minutes. And if you compare that to what the value would be in the market, it's probably about the same, really.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a high value. But that Mendy, if you were to bring him out now in the longevity, for the fact that Ferland Mendy would get one special card, he would be very, very expensive and very desirable. So it's about the timing. They have nothing to lose by bringing out these end game cards at the end. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the cards in these promos don't feel special enough to me.
In an even broader sense, Amar, do you think that FIFA should be a whole year-long cycle of promos? If you look at other games, they might bring out some DLC over, say, a 6-month period, and then that's it. The game is sort of left in that state, and you go off and do something. I mean, obviously, EA are never going to switch away from maximising their profits, but from a gamer-centric point of view, from a player-based point of view, do you think that we would maybe enjoy things more if it was just 6-7 months of intense splurge on content, and then we get to end of team of the season, and EA say, right, we're going away to focus on, FIFA 23. Here's all your icon SBCs for the rest of the year. If you want to keep playing, do it. But see you in September.
So I would prefer that, but I think most players who play the game now, if you were to have a look at Twitch and find 10 guys who are playing and find 10 guys who are opening packs, 10 guys who are opening packs are going to have the most viewers without any doubt. And that's what people are playing this game for now, is for the new players, is for content. You spoke earlier about, having a gap between promos. If you remember when they came out with that silver promo, people were furious. People were furious that they had a week where they couldn't upgrade their team.
Yeah.
So I think if you were to say, when is team, we've got about 3-4 weeks left. So if you would say in June, when we have 3 months left of the game, and we're not going to do anything else, I think very high percentage of players would just stop playing.
But is that? But is what I completely agree with them. I know that's a response that we'll get. But Ryan, is that necessarily healthy? Do you think that the way that they've engineered this game cycle has got us so thirsty for upgrades and for the next thing that actually we need a bit of tough love and kind of saying, well, guys, you don't need to upgrade your team every week?
I think it's exactly that. I think you just hit the nail on the head there. Because we've been so spoiled with content, we almost expect it now. We spit the dummy out when you don't bring anything out because we expect it every night. And if there's nothing, you're like, oh well, what's the point then? If there was less of the content, the upgrades and the players that do come out hold their value. So you've always got something to grind towards. So actually, when you're upgrading your team, you're doing it with coins rather than just packs. But I totally agree that the content side is packs. It's not that nobody wants to see somebody playing, but people want to see packs. That is definitely what people want to see. So I get it. I totally get it. It's me being selfish from a personal point of view of why I would prefer the content cycle to be slightly shorter, with more breaks in between the promos, and I feel like they need to bring back the value of these promos as well. If they had a shorter cycle throughout the year, they have then a couple of months to bring in maybe gameplay content where you're getting use out of these previous promo cards to then achieve something new. So these daily knockouts that we used to have, they could easily bring them back just for the final quarter of the game, where you have to use 3 rule breaker cards or 3 FUT birthday cards in your squad to then achieve this item. You're getting use out of all the cards that throughout the year have completely been forgotten about, and some of the cards that have come out have probably never been used.
Yeah, and I think this kind of links back into the Team of the Week jokes that we were making at the start. And I think if you either have fewer promos or, I know you said earlier, Ryan, about maybe keeping players in packs for less time, but I'd almost argue the other way. I think you have FUT birthday cards in packs for 4 weeks and just make all those players the peak players for 4 weeks. Then you still keep that fix that Amar was talking about of people opening packs because they have fun things to pack in packs. But also the power curve is reined back in because I feel that with every promo they release, there is that expectation of things have got to get that little bit better. And you can imagine if Ones to Watch had been in packs for, say, 6 weeks, that extends the life of those first few Team of the Weeks. And then in the next pack of whatever they want to call it, Ultimate Scream, whatever it is, then comes out after 6 weeks and is in packs for 3 weeks. Again, they're not running away from the Team of the Week. And the Team of the Week becomes more special because they are unique cards, and suddenly you're excited to pack a Team of the Week again, Amar.
Yeah, and again, I agree with what both you and Ryan are saying, and I think that's the game that I would like as well. But I still do think we're in a minority here. I, I think most people want content all the time, as much as there is, and that's why you see a lot of people log off. Well, when I played last year, I see a lot of people log off when we had the Path to Glory promo, which I thought was brilliant. But it's because they were really easy to pack, and you had the 85 by 10.
Yeah.
And I saw people saying, well, I don't want to play because Everyone's got a good team now. My team's not special anymore.
That's probably the yeah, that's the thing that if you did that and extended the promos, then the pack odds definitely need to be dropped because I certainly feel like this year the odds have went up, not necessarily for the top tier cards, just for promo cards in general. So if they keep it the way it is and they have it on for longer, more people will have them, and therefore the value won't stick. So I think from my perspective, if they make it shorter but keep the odds the same, there's less cards in the market, they have a higher value, and then they become more desirable in order to upgrade your team.
Yeah, completely agree. And as I said, look, we can talk about this, but EA have got access to all of the stats, and they know what this has done for the sale of packs, for user engagement, and clearly they've been going down this strategy more and more. And this is only my third FIFA, and already I've seen a massive jump in terms of volume of content and what we've had from FIFA 20 to 22. And I think the thing as well is that they've been very cleverly removing ways to slowly grind things by doing just little things like having said untradables in your league SBCs, also taking away certain league SBCs for times, and bringing them back slowly. It's just these little things that just make getting exactly what you want or going down a particular strategy away from having to play and grind for rewards, taking that out of your user hands. But look, by all means, everybody send us in your thoughts at FUT In Review on Twitter. I'm sure this is a topic we'll be coming back to over the summer. But gents, just before we wrap up, any final thoughts on the whole FIFA game cycle, Amar?
Yeah, I did have one final thought. I thought to Ryan's point, if there were fewer, shorter promos, maybe you'd play more people who actually want to play the game rather than get a really fast win and hope that you quit because they're just trying to get a pack. Um, right now, I feel like more than 50% of the people I play don't enjoy playing the game and they just are doing whatever they can to get their rewards as fast as possible.
Yeah, I could see that, but I think what you said is right. We're in the minority, unfortunately, so EA know what they're doing. They have all their data, and they're definitely tuning it for maximized profits.
Yeah, it's
Don't
fun.
blame them.
No, they're a business and they're making money hand over fist so you can't. And to what Amar was saying, I agree again. I think for a lot of people, it's if I just do this thing, if I play this mode I don't want to play to get this player I want, he'll make my main team better, and then I'll enjoy the game more. And that goes back to the whole thing that Ryan was saying of, well, actually, a new player comes out next week, so you have to go through the cycle again. And actually, you end up using your main team less than you'd want. But look, who knows what we're going to see in FIFA 23? The whole game cycle is going to be completely warped by the World Cup in Qatar. And then, of course, we've got EAFC, whatever the ultimate game is decided in 2023-24. So we'll keep our eyes peeled and look, hopefully they'll take some of these things on board, but who knows what lays in store in the future. But moving away from the future and back to the present, and Ryan, as we said at the top of the show, it's been a while. I think the last time we had you on the show was around the time of the E-Prem, just coming up short in your bid to represent the blue and white of Brighton. How was that whole experience, and how has sort of your FIFA Ultimate Team experience been since then?
Honestly, it was such a wild experience in a good way. It was so unique and so exciting, and the nerves you feel are legitimate. They really do get to you. And the first time I'd ever been on a stage, so well, a stage so to speak, still at home, but on a stage.
Did you
Um,
build one at home? Just to
I wish, yeah, might have made me feel a bit better, but no, it was absolutely insane, and I can't recommend people enough to at least give it a go next year if the format is the same. Even just to be part of it was incredible. I only wish I could have made the finals and gone on from there, but it certainly took a lot out of me, is what I'll be honest about that. It took a lot out of me coming back to FIFA after that. The sort of motivation of where I wanted to go next with that and the goals that I had. We always we set goals at the start of the year. We certainly exceeded it in terms of EPrem, so happy with that. And we've still got a couple of goals left to go for the end till the end of the year. I haven't necessarily been playing a lot lately. It's certainly been over a month now since I've touched Ultimate Team, just because I'm enjoying the freedom of not having to play it, not missing anything. I think we said earlier that if I go back to it now, I could probably play tonight and have a team as good as anyone's. So I'm not missing anything, and I don't need to worry about that. I've just been enjoying life, I guess. Yeah, but as FUT coaching, we've actually been working on a couple of things in the background, which we will announce soon. And the Patreons will have first access to that too. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a really cool addition to our arsenal, I guess. And I think everyone else is going to be really excited when they find out about it as well. I think there's a lot of potential about it, and yeah, I really just can't wait to tell everyone. I think everyone should be excited for that coming up. And on the topic of FUT coaching, I think it's worthwhile pointing out that if you are even considering thinking about the coaching or looking into to maybe booking something, now is the best time to do so. We are running a discount for the summer where it's the perfect opportunity to come in and maybe just try it or buy it as a gift for someone. And the prices really are as competitive as they have ever been, so they're really good. And if you're on the Patreon as well, you're getting double discount, you're getting stacked discount there. So depending on what tier you are, you're getting a really, really great deal for what you get out of it. It's very good value. So if you're ever thinking about it, now is definitely the time to do so. Especially how competitive all the weekend leagues or week league, whatever you want to call it now is. This is probably the best time to hone your skills for next year and certainly see where it can take you.
Yeah, and that's definitely worth stressing as well. I mean, you might think, oh, FIFA 22 is over soon, but it's not. The skills and the things that you're going to be learning are going to stretch you over whatever edition of game EA bring out. Some things tweak, yeah, by all means, but the core fundamentals really don't change from year to year. So definitely head over to footcoaching.com for more info on that. And again, for the Patreon, it's patreon.com/FUT In review. Amar, what about yourself? How are you sort of looking towards these last couple of months of this game? Are you winding things down, or are you looking forward to ploughing on through the summer?
I go back and forth between both, Dan, I have to say. This was the time last year where I really started to improve a lot. So I'd say from this time, team of the season last year was when I hit my first gold 2, and then shortly after that, my first gold 1. And both of those were with what most people would deem, they use these words that I don't like, unusable or behind the curve players. And it just goes to show, perhaps not at Ryan's level, well, definitely not at Ryan's level, but for an average player, you don't need to grab the latest promo player. The one from the last promo is still fine for you.
Yep, absolutely agreed. As for myself, I'm just trying to play Weekend League where I can. I really, as someone whose time is very varied, having Weekend League be extended is fantastic. The rewards still aren't fantastic, but that is a rant for another day. But we still move. I have had to retire mid R9. He's reached that point, gents. He's hit the bench. It's a sad day.
Did he have 5 games?
A moment of silence for him too.
Yeah, after 700 odd games. It's always sad when that club legend hits that point where you have to sort of saddle him. Who have either of you two got a legend in your club that has sort of racked up hundreds of games? Amar?
Yeah, flashback Muller. I had 700 games with him, and I retired him when I got team of the season Muller. He was in my team from when he came out until now.
Ryan, what about you?
I'll be honest, I can't remember who's still in my team.
They're all legends. Frozen in time.
I think the last time I played was FUT Fantasy, so it tells you how long it's been.
There you go. I'm sure that your squad are just raring to prove themselves.
I bet they are. Yeah, I bet they're all on the training ground wondering where I've been. But
you're going to walk into the dressing room and it's going to be an emotional scene. The gaffer's back.
I don't know how if it'll be emotional in a good or a bad way, but yeah, it'll be emotional.
Where have you been? Excellent. Well, gents, anything to add before we ride off into the podcasting sunset? Amar?
No, I think that was pretty covered everything we needed to there.
Excellent. And Ryan?
No, nothing from me. Just glad to be back on the podcast, and yeah, good to be here.
Absolutely great, as I said, to speak to both of you, and hopefully again it won't be so long before we reunite. Once again, patreon.com/FUT In Review. You can follow us on Twitter @FUT In Review. And again, a big thank you to everyone who answered our plea for that YouTube channel. As John was saying on Monday, we have crossed that 100 subscriber mark. So if you head over to youtube.com/FUT In Review, you'll see all of the latest content. You'll see the video version of this show up there as well. And again, if you give us a like and a subscribe, it is very, very much appreciated. The bigger the audience, the more views we get, the bigger and better this show will get. So spread the word, will be very much appreciated. Amar, where can people follow you on the World Wide Web?
No, nowhere other than the Discord, unfortunately. I don't really have a social media presence.
Well, a very occasional Twitch stream.
Yes, the very occasional one. I think probably next team of the season will be the next one.
Excellent. Set your alarm for 350 odd days from now. And Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, so you can find me on the Discord as well, just as you would, Ryan Hampton, or Hampton R actually. Should be more accurate than that. And also on Twitter at Hampton R__.
Wondered who that imposter Ryan Hampton was. I am at Wimby on Twitter, and of course in the Discord pretty much at all hours of the day, given my working schedule. So hit me up as Wimby there. We will be back on Friday to talk about the Liga Earned team of the season. It's one of the most eagerly anticipated teams. Probably one of the last major hurrahs we'll get in this cycle. So John will be back, presumably with the King of the North, Ingvi, to discuss all of that and more. Right now, John is glued to his television as we record this as Feyenoord take on Roma in the Conference League final. So as a big Feyenoord man, his mood may be affected positively or negatively by that result. So we'll judge it on Friday's show. But thank you again, Ryan. Thank you, Amar, for joining me. And thank you to all of you for taking the time to listen. One more thing for us to do, Amar.
Drop it.
And Ryan.
Drop it.
We are going to drop it.